Here's the first problem from the first handout, slope 1, and we're asked to find the slope of this line. Hopefully we can look at it and we can see that it has a positive slope. The line is going up, so I would expect to get a positive number. If I don't, I have done something wrong. To find slope, your first job is to pick 2 points. I'm going to pick the last point here and the first point. And I'm going to write down those coordinate pairs. So in x first and then y. This is where the horizontal axis value equals 10. If I go down from this point on the x-axis or the horizontal axis, I had 10. If I go across to the vertical axis, it's 55, right? It's halfway between 50 and 60, so this is 55. I'm going to do the same thing here. If I go from this point down, I get a horizontal value of 0, and on this vertical axis between 0 and 10, this would be 5. I can label these. These are my second points. We're just going left to right. So these would be my first points. These would be my second points. This would be x2 and y2. And this would be x1 and y1. I can put it into here if I want. If this is what how you like to do it, that's fine. y2 is 55 minus y1 is 5. x2 is 10 minus x1 is 0. 55 minus 5 is 50. 10 minus 0 is 10. I get the slope here is 5. I could also, and again, this is doing the exact same calculation. I could also just look, and I can say, well, what did this line do here? And I'm going to put how far up it went divided by how far over it went. And it went up from 5 to 55, so I can say, well, it went up 50. And it went over or across 10. And I could just say, well, its slope would be up 50. I can put a plus for up. Divided by 10 would also give me a slope of 5. What's in red, what's in blue are the exact same calculations. Red is just a little faster. Here's number 2. So I can see that all of these points are graphed below the horizontal axis. Every one of these points has a negative vertical axis variable, a negative y variable. But that has nothing to do with slope, remember. Slope isn't about where the points are plotted. It's about where the line's going. Are the values increasing or decreasing? And here, hopefully, you can see this would be a negative slope. From left to right, this is going down. So when I calculate this, I would expect to get a negative number. First thing I'm going to do is pick 2 points. I'm going to pick the starting point here. On the horizontal axis, that would have a value of 0. On the vertical axis, this is halfway between 0 and negative 20, so it would be negative 10. I'm going to pick another point, and I can pick any other point. Let me pick this one here. Now, what is this on the horizontal axis? Well, I can tell I go up by 5s, but I have these marks. I'm just going to make sure that each one represents 1 unit. So this would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It does. So it's 1 over from 5, so the horizontal axis variable here would be 6. And the vertical axis variable, if I go from this point over to the vertical axis, I get negative 40. This would be x2 and y2. This would be x1 and y1. And if I wanted to find my slope using the method you probably learned in math, slope is change in y over change in x. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is negative 40. Keep track of those signs. Minus negative 10 is y1 divided by x2 is 6. Minus x1 is 0. Negative 40 minus negative 10 is the same as negative 40 plus 10, so that would be negative 30 over 6 is negative 5. That's what you should get for this slope. If I wanted to do it, again, do the same thing, but maybe with a little less, writing out a little less work here, and who doesn't like that? I go down from negative 10 to negative 40, so I go down 30. And I go across 6. So I would represent down 30 by making that negative. So negative 30 over 6 is negative 5. I get the same answer either way, and I would get the same answer if I chose any 2 points on this line. You can pick any 2 points, and you should get the slope as negative 5. Here is number 3. I'm going to start in the same way, and again, you could pick any 2 points. I'm going to pick the starting point. The horizontal axis value is 0. The vertical axis value is negative 300. I'll pick this point here, where the horizontal axis value is 60. Vertical axis value is 0. And hopefully you can look at this and see that you would anticipate getting a positive slope for this. So if when you do your math and you don't, you have done something wrong. Slope is change in y over change in x. So that's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And again, the 2's are just the second point going from left to right. So this would be x2, y2. This would be x1, y1. So if I wanted to plug this in, y2 is 0. Y1 is negative 300. Keep track of your signs. Divided by x2 is 60. And x1 is 0. 0 minus negative 300 is the same as 0 plus 300. So it would be 300 divided by 60 minus 0 is 60. And you would get 5. You could also do the same thing once again by just saying how far does it travel vertically, how far does this point progress vertically, and how far does it progress horizontally. So we can see that from here to here it went up 300. All right, it went from here to here, so that is up 300. From here to here it went across 60. So up the slope, it went up 300, it went across 60, the slope would be 5. Same thing, exact same calculations. You can, again, do this however you want. So here's number 4, and I can see that it starts over here, and hopefully that is 260, but maybe you're not 100% sure, and you want to pick a point you're sure about, so we can pick this point here. This point on the horizontal axis, it's right between 0 and 10, so I know that that would be 5. Vertical axis, I know this is 240. And you can pick this point. You can pick any other point you want, but we'll pick this point. On the horizontal axis, this is 15. And on the vertical axis, this is 200. This would be, since this is your second point going left to right, this would be x2 and y2. This would be x1, therefore, and y1. So if we want to find the slope as change in y over change in x, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 200. y1 is 240. x2 is 15, and x1 is 5. 200 minus 240 is negative 40. 15 minus 5 is 10, so we would get a slope of negative 4, and we expect a negative slope here because the line is going down. We could also look at this and say, well, I know that it went down 40, and I also know here that it went, oops, not here. I also know here from this point to this point that it went across from 5 to 15. It went across 10. So I can say the slope, well, if it goes down 40, that's negative 40. Across 10, the slope would be negative 4. Either way you do it.